to the live stream if you were, late to the party. I've just been doing this lately because I'm, just something kind of fun to interact with people. But while people start to click on, we are working on TFCs, or Trinity Fan Controllers. So, let me turn that down. So, I've been waiting a couple months for these designs to come in, but for those of you that haven't seen, these are the TFCs. It's the little portable fan controllers that I got. And we finally got a new design in. So this is version 2.2 that we're working on today. So yeah, we're going to be making some TFCs and hopefully getting them ready to go, because some people have been waiting quite a while. So I think they should be excited about that. How's that sound? Besides that, REMs are in stock and looking really good. So I am happy about that. And yeah, I actually have all the parts that I need to start getting stuff done, so we like that. What else to talk about? The Comanche's going good. The Comanche's looking real good right now. So I've been driving that around, taking scrap metal. I got some parts for that, so hopefully when I finally catch up on the business, I can start uploading some videos of the Comanche, so I think you guys would like to see that. And yeah. REM clocks eventually. Once I'm finally caught up on orders, I'm going to start working on the clock design so people can finally get their frickin' clocks. So these will be back soon. Definitely this year. Definitely this year. I just need the frickin' time. I've been working so much at my other job. We're like so short-staffed. I have to put so many hours over there. It's hard to do this. So I'm doing like split shifts. So I work there at night and I come here in the morning and try to work now. So that's why I'm up early. You asked me a year ago if I'd be up at, before like 10 o'clock, I'd laugh, but now here I am freaking waking up at 8 o'clock to freaking get all this work done. So yeah, anyway, now that we're all caught up, we can start doing the live stream stuff. So for people that have just showed up, hi, welcome to the stream. So I just got a hi from Eugene. What's going on? He actually ordered a TFC. He said he can't wait to get the new one. I forget, are you on the pending orders, or were you waiting for the new design to finally come in? I'm so lost. Where am I going? Let's go here. WordPress updated their store, like their WooCommerce thing, at like a couple months ago, so I'm trying to remember how everything works. Waiting for the new one. Okay. Well, you won't have to wait much longer, because they are finally in. They're looking pretty good. So, yeah, we're on version 2.2 now, which there aren't really that many changes. The biggest change, I think your unit had an issue with that, were the power supply burnout. Finding that with a lot of my designs, the older ones, it was having issues sometimes. I'm guessing it's like a voltage spike or something on the Jeep would pop the voltage regulator. I've heard it more commonly on the REMs when people try to jumpstart their Jeeps, that the REMs would burn out. But every single time it was always either the voltage regulator was like 90% of the problem, and like 10% was the signal generator, but both of those were on the 12-volt circuit. So now I have a catch diode on there, and it gets rid of any voltage spikes, and so far I haven't had any single problems with the REM V5.3s, the one with the red text. They've been fine. So same things happened with the version 2.2 of the fan controllers. They got that catch diode. But yeah, they look nice. So that's the nice new design that was sent a couple days ago. If it would focus ever, please. Please. No? No? Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll just go screw myself. That's fine. But anyway, yeah, that's the new design. I don't have to build them anymore, thank God. They just come pre-assembled. SMD assembly is a nightmare, so yeah, I'm very glad to not have to build these anymore. But that is the main unit. We've also got the new and improved adapters. So this is the business end, where we actually plug in our wires for the fan controller. So we've still got our 90-degree wiring block where the wires get screwed in. There's screw terminals to tighten them all down. And then we've also got spade terminals for people that like spade terminals. So we've got those two designs. And not much has changed with that. It's really just the label placement. So now you can see them on the top and the bottom. They're a lot cleaner. So just some little touch-ups. But the most exciting part to show off is the new adapter cases. So let's see if I can pop this off. So this is what the original adapter case was. You would just take the one of these boards. It would just be slid in there, but they weren't covered on the one side. So you had like a mounting spot, but they weren't covered. And some customers were having issues where the boards would rust out or have like shorting issues. So I started coating them with a conformal coating to keep them like sort of waterproof. But even that didn't always work. Sometimes there were still issues. So with the newest design, we now have covers that will go over top. So this is the cover for the Spade terminal, and this is the cover for the wiring block. So they actually snap over top of the top like that, and they just click into place, and that way it's protected from the elements, and you don't have to worry about it. So I think that looks really sharp. And also to keep up with the 2020 branding, now we have our letters embossed in red, so they're no longer black. I feel like they pop out a little better, and they just kind of look cleaner. Also, I kind of like the black on red, but yeah, if you ever see the black on red, that's usually like our newest designs from 2020 and up. But yeah, I've spent a lot of time messing around with this bad boy. This one's got the cutouts for the Spade terminals, so that way you don't have to take your wires out. You can just pop it right over top of the Spade terminal and have easy access, but at the same time keep it easily protected. There's a little nub here, so you can just pop the nub up and then it'll unsnap, so you can easily get to the stuff. But yeah, I'm excited, man. This is the first design that I've done snap fit, because snap fit is notoriously a pain in the ass to get right on 3D printed stuff. But yeah, this is the first prototype, or possibly the second prototype for this version. There's a couple prototypes sitting on the desk, but yeah, that one pops in there. This one is a lot more protected because we don't have to worry about the big ass Spade terminal sticking up. So there's just a little opening down at the bottom with the wires can slip through. But yeah, I think that looks sharp. That looks professional, you know? It's got the nice little edges on there, so it's not like a chunky square. It looks real clean. I think you'd be proud to show that off under the hood. So I think that'll make the TFC installation way nicer. So yeah, that's what I've been working on for the past couple days. It's just staring at freaking CAD software for hours on end, going insane. But yeah, I also got a little end piece here that covers the end of the board, because on the one side, the side where the board has a slide in, this side was always exposed. So now I even printed a little end cap. So there's an end cap that that'll pop on, and it's a press fit in there to cover it up, so it should look real nice. So yeah, I think that's that. But enough blabbing. Let's start getting some work done, eh? Let's see what we got. Catching some stuff up here. Oh, cool. Just got a shifter order. It should be fun. I gotta add some notes, actually. Notes. Where are my notes? You have to start leaving like to-do lists and notes and keeping track of everything, because otherwise I forget everything that I'm doing. So there was an NS Junior screen replacement, 5th gear issue. I think there was someone that was asking for a TFC adapter replacement sometime early, like January maybe, but I didn't have any in stock, so I'll have to find that and figure out where that one was. Speaking of shifters, I totally was looking at one of those for the AW4. Awesome. They're fun, man. I don't have any on the table right now, but I've got some screens that are pre-made. I just got to put them in boxes. But yeah, the shifters are cool. I can't wait to get back into the shifters and start making some stuff for that. But I'm just so scatterbrained trying to get everything going. But yeah, so I also got to update the pictures for that on the website, because a lot of them are a little misleading. Some people are confused. They think that like the order comes with like the red ball joystick, and that's definitely not the case. I do not recommend that at all. It's too loose and it just bounces around. I feel like if you're on a bumpy road, it would just start shifting on you. You know, it's meant for a sloppy arcade, not for a vehicle. So somebody actually sent me a link for a 3D printed shifter. I have to look into that more, But that sounds cool. If I could find a design that I like and put one together, I could offer my own alternative shifter if someone wanted that. That'd be awesome, because that way I could make one that has a nice form factor that could maybe fit somewhere in the center console or on a hard mount or something like that. I think that'd be awesome. But again, these are extra ideas when I actually have the free time. First, we got to get the base products out. And that's what today is all about, getting TFCs out, because we got like 8 orders that people have been waiting quite a while, so I do appreciate the patience while I get all this stuff figured out. Flappy paddles. Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be freaking awesome. The sequential paddle shifters, that'd be great. That's another feature that I do want to add. I want to make a sequential module that'll actually connect on the junior shifter to support that, so that way you can have your up down and even include the torque converter into the gears, so you could have first, second, third locked, fourth locked, so you can just bounce up and down like that. But yeah, let's see, I feel like on hot summer days a 3D printed shifter would crumble. It depends on the plastic. I mean, you know, all these cases have been 3D printed. I use ABS, and that withstands most elements, unless you're in a really hot environment like Arizona and you leave it on the dash and you're parked like directly under the sun. I think I've had a total of like maybe 3 or 4 warped cases in all of the stuff I've sold, but you know, that's pretty damn hot. The RE Unplugged broke again. What part broke? You have to send me a picture of what that looks like to figure out if I need to change the design at all. Because I'm still pumping these out. I got a crap load of these adapters that I'm printing right now, because there's some REM adapters. And part of that shifter is going to be metal. Like, I would assume that the stick and any movable joints are going to be metal. It's just like the overall casing and stuff like that would be like a plastic case, but with metal joints and stuff. So yeah, it's not going to be like just completely 3D printed. That would feel pretty crappy. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't offer it unless I really thought that it would stand up to the environments that our Jeeps go through. So yeah. Okay. So we've got 8 orders. I guess I'm going to start on the adapters first because they're simple. We've gotten 6 of the screw terminal ones and 2 of the spade terminal ones. So we will work on that. I guess I'll bring you down so we can see what we're working on here. Okay, so this is what the raw board looks like. It's actually double-sided, so depending on what people order, I just flip it over for the different designs. And they're not connected through, so the one side is not electrically connected to the other. That's just for isolation purposes, in case anything like shorts out or whatever. On the one side, it won't affect the other. But yeah, there's some slick little design features in here too. I don't know if it'll focus at all, but on the traces that go to the fans, like any high power traces, I actually have a there's a neck down on the trace. So if there's ever like a really bad short that would, you know, cause a fire or something like that, the neck down will actually pop before the rest of the trace or the board or anything catches on fire. So I've actually tested them. It's really cool to watch them. They just have a little pop, and then the copper pops off, and it's good. So it's kind of like a one-time fuse. There's fuses on the fan controller, so if there's ever like a short through the whole circuit, then the fan controller should catch it. But if there's ever something that only happens on the adapter end, like say something lands on the adapter and it just shorted from one to the other, this wouldn't do anything. So that's a safety backup in case anything happens on the adapter end. So we are covered. All right, so let's get these. They are jacks, wiring blocks, and the fan. Oh, hey, we can talk about that now. If you guys aren't on my Facebook page, I guess I should talk about that. Some people were curious where to find my stuff. I have a website where all this stuff is sold, nickandtimedesign.com. So you can go to the shop page, and all the products that I currently sell are up there. If you want to keep up on the week to week what I'm working on, the Facebook page, Nick and Time Films at facebook.com. I should really change that to design at some point. if it doesn't confuse the crap out of people. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook. And on my website, there's a contact page, so any place that I'm at, you'll find me on the contact, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or email or whatever. You can find it under the contact tab. But yeah, that's where you find my stuff. Other new stuff with the fan controllers, we now have proper 1/8 inch NPT temperature sensors. So before I was providing a metric. It was like an M8 by 1 or an M8 by 1.25, and that's a really hard size to find. It's really awkward. The only reason I even offered it was because it was pre-wired. It had a wire and the little, I think these are JST connectors or whatever, but the little white snap fit connectors, it was already pre-wired. It was just easy to offer. But I know a lot of people had problems finding the adapters, and they were kind of cheap, but that's what they look like. It just kind of snap fits in there, and this is the probe version, so you can stuff this into the radiator, into one of the things. That's how I'm running mine, and it works fine. But yeah, now we got these bad boys, so you can plug them into anything that has an 1/8 inch NPT port. It's got a little spade on the end, so I got me a big old baggie of spade connectors with rubber booties, so they can stay protected. I guess I'll offer like, I don't know, like 6 feet of wire pre-attached, and you can just run that to the adapter. But yeah, people that order the threaded adapters, these should be much nicer to work with. So I haven't tested the temperature profile curve yet, so I still got to program that into the new units. But yeah, once I get that going, we should be set. Okay, assembly. This is assembly, remember? So I'm gonna get a little background music going. Hopefully it's not too loud. YouTube's really good at catching that, so I'm probably not going to advertise on this. If you see ads on these things, it's because YouTube picked up the music in the background and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to screw you now. All that music's going to go to whoever the fuck song was playing, and you can't turn them off even if you wanted to. Yay! We love copyright. Okay. So here are all of my adapters. So these are actually surface mount Ethernet jacks. But the only reason that I got them was because I think they're reverse mount. They're like backwards to normal jacks, or I don't remember why I had to pick this particular brand, but there was some reason about them. Okay, 332. Good. So yeah, these ones are neat. They have a little pads on the bottom that you solder to. And they match up with the pads on here, so that way they have more grip strength, so that they don't get pulled off the board as easily. So let's get this party started. I do have to go to my other job today, so I won't be doing this forever. So you're probably looking at a solid, I don't know, a couple hours. Depending on what I feel like doing. Alright, let's make some room here. Let's move all this crap out of there. My very official certified solder smoke sucker. It's just two computer fans that are wired together through the extra wire, and there's a screw here so it doesn't fall over. Works pretty damn well, but I did very officially attach a switch to it. The only thing you could use is like maybe a mesh cover. Because before, when it would fall down, if it would fall on the table, it would start sending all the parts everywhere. So that's why the screw's there, so that we don't have that anymore. Nobody likes ricocheting parts going everywhere. Okay. So hopefully the music isn't too loud and you can still hear me over it. I don't think it's very loud. I can barely hear it, so it should be okay. I know how cell phones can be. Playing Sirius XM, so they're... if YouTube's copyright's gonna get me, it's definitely gonna get me. Oh well. Okay. Let us begin. Yeah, so after the first thing, once I got it, I built some test units to make sure that the units worked. So the board passes the initial test of turning on. So that's always a good sign. I haven't done any 12 volt testing yet, but the next part was the case redesign for the adapters, because I knew the adapters were going to take a lot of work. So now that the adapters are redesigned with their awesome snap fit case that took very many tries to get right, that's all good. I went through and fixed up the case, so we're going to print the cases for the fan controllers next to make sure that's good. And then after that I can start building all the units, which we're doing now. In the meantime, while the printer's doing its thing. And then the last part is code. Really, there's not much to do. I can definitely run it off the old code. I just have to add the new temperature profile for those Spade connectors. Or not the Spade, the thread and probes. But yeah, once the profile is uploaded, then I can technically send them out to customers. But I do want to sit and properly go through the code and see what I can trim and make room for. Because right now the fan controllers the code is full. Like, there's no more room on them. They're suffering from the same issues that the original REMs did, since they were based on the Arduino Uno. Well, I mean, these are technically the Leonardo, so that even makes it worse because it has to have a bootloader on there. But yeah, they're tapped out. There's no more room for code. So I have to sit there and decide what features I want, what features I don't want, and if I can trim them to make them more space efficient, and see if I can even fit anything else. There's a lot of things I'd like to do, I just don't have the room for it. Like PWM support, pulse width modulation, so you can change the fan speed, not just on and off, but fan speed. And that could also come with a soft start feature. So if you got really high amp fans that turn on, sometimes you notice the engine lugs and it feels like it wants to stall for a little. That could also be fixed with a soft start. So, you know, there's things like that. You'd have to use a solid state relay to do that. But yeah, that was one of the features I wanted to look into. There was more like silly, well, maybe not silly, but less necessary things like temperature prediction. So a big thing with fan controllers is where your fan, where your temperature sensor is, where it's located in the cooling system compared to where your fans are. So when you think about the system, when the fans turn on, the coolant right downstream of that is the part that's being affected, right? So when your fan turns on, the hot side's still the same on the radiator, but the cold side is the part that's changing. And we need to monitor that change to know when to turn our fans on and off. So if you'll notice on the Renix Jeeps, your temperature fan switch is mounted on the cold side of the radiator because that is the closest point of change to the fans. So that's why I recommend also mounting your temperature sensor on the cold side of the radiator. That way the fan controller has the fastest reaction time. So it notices, okay, this is cold enough, we can turn it off, and there's no lag time. Say you mount it on the thermostat, right, on the hot side. Well, now you have to wait for that cold coolant to go all through your engine block, all through the head, pop out of the thermostat, and go, oh, okay, we're good now. By the time it turns off, that system has still been cooling for all that time, so now you're going to notice that temperature still creeps down even after the fan turned off because the late reaction time. So, but I know a lot of people don't like the temperature reading on the cold side of the radiator because it's low. They're like, oh, this temperature's low. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point of a radiator, but when people see a temperature, they want to see the temperature of the engine, not the cold side of the radiator. So it's understandable. It's just, you know, changing the accuracy or your expected output to reaction time. So if you don't care about really high and low temperature swings, someone's calling me, but I don't care. But if you don't care about the temperature swings, it's fine. But personally, I kind of like the faster reaction time. And I'm also a nerd. I use my fan controller as a temperature gauge because it gives you live temperature. So I can see the cold side of the radiator, I can see the hot side of the radiator, I can see the temperature difference of the radiator through the TFC. I have the thermostat and the cold side of the rad both into the TFC, and there's a mode that you can see the temperature difference. So you can see like, oh, the radiator's dropping like 30-35 degrees. When you're on the highway, you can actually see that number go lower. It's really cool. So when you're stopped, you'll see it kind of come up. It's like, oh, it's only dropping like 25 degrees. You start driving, the fan comes on, it's dropping 30, highway 35. It's neat. It's like a temperature delta that the radiator's dropping. So that's a fun one to look at if you're ever bored. But yeah, if I could do temperature prediction to know the lag time of the system, then I could try and code it to turn the fans on and off a little more smartly, so there's not as much temperature overshoot. But it is also a balance, because on the flip side of having high reaction time is also relay use, because the relays only have a certain number of times they can click on and off before they burn out. So if you're constantly flicking them on and off every couple seconds, that's going to be a problem. So too much reaction time is also a problem, but you just got to make sure that your system isn't oversensitive. Or just go with solid state relays. I don't know how long they last, but probably a lot longer than the click-clack relays. But yeah, there's always flip sides to the coin of is this good or that good, and everything in between. There's lots of things to think about for stuff like this. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm putting, I'm soldering these surface mount jacks on. So on the normal ones, they have pins that actually click in to the board, but these are surface mount only. So there's metal tabs on here that are soldered to the board to keep it attached. But you can't access it. You can't like get to the bottom and solder to them, and I'm not using a reflow oven to melt the solder that way. So what I did is I made extra long tabs on the circuit board, so I have a place to contact, and then I can put the soldering iron there. But what I have to do is put some solder, like, what would you call it? Like, I basically have to seed the solder, almost. I put like a little bit on each contact so there's something to work with to start it off. And then when I hit the iron and start flowing it in there, it'll catch, and it just makes it a much stronger connection that you can be sure is actually being connected properly. So now that they're all seated, I can flip it over and put it on there. And we solder from the side of it. There's a little tab I can get to. And this just makes sure that the second you try to unplug your Ethernet cable, you're not ripping the jack off the board. This does have locating pins, but they're not snap fit pins, so they don't really supply any amount of movement protection. They're really just to make sure it lands where it's supposed to. So we're basically just relying on a solder joint to make sure that these jacks aren't ripped off.
If you're having a party this weekend, you can listen to the Turbo Party channel, the next channel on your Sirius XM. I turned down the Turbo Top 1.
That was another thing I did when I updated this adapter design. I made it like a millimeter wider, just so I have more room to get in here, and more room for the adapters, so that there's like a better lip for it to grab onto. Because the other ones were so small, there was like nothing to grab onto with the slide fit. Because this is just a friction fit in the board. But yeah, those are the kind of things that are hard to know until you have them in your hands. I wish I could get a better camera angle for you guys so you can actually see me, but oh well. I'm no professional streamer just yet. But anyway, what have you guys been up to? Anything fun and exciting? Any new Jeep problems? I know there's always new Jeep problems. I just got an order from Rock Auto in, so I've got some parking brake cables for the MJ. Normally I wouldn't care a ton, but with the MJ, since it's a manual, I kind of need that parking brake. So I got two new rear cables. My buddy did a side mount exhaust on it before I bought it from him, and I guess that was starting to melt the cable. Like, it melted the rubber protective coating, and then that let the water get in, and then it started to rust, and the heat with the corrosion makes it even worse until it finally snapped. So yeah, we got new parking brake cables for the MJ. Michael says, when will these ship? I ordered a fan controller about 3 more weeks ago. I know they're made to order and now my Jeep blew up, so no rush. Hopefully it wasn't an overheating issue. Yeah, for you, 3 weeks actually isn't that bad. You're probably on the earlier side. I've still got a couple pending orders from January when I first opened pre-orders. But if everything goes well, they should ship next week. I would say, soon, but it's Friday. They're definitely not getting out tonight. I highly doubt they're getting out tomorrow. So I would definitely say Monday or sometime after Monday, but definitely soon. If you were late to the stream, we've got new adapters now. So the part that goes under the hood has a snap fit cover that protects the circuit board, so it's real clean. But besides that, yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. I'll update the pictures once everything's done, but I'll definitely say it's worth the wait. So I do appreciate you guys holding on through the pre-order stage. I only accept pre-orders once I know that a product is being assembled, because otherwise you guys will be waiting like forever. So I know once money's on the table, people don't like to wait very long. But yep, here we are doing assembly. Alright, see you later. Probably not. Okay. Let's see, my floor is rotting by my feet, and I'm making a mount for a light bar on the front bumper. Still looking for a full instrument panel to replace my tackless idiot lights added on. Yeah, I've definitely been there. I know what it's like to have your floors crumble from beneath you. I don't even want to look at the MJ. I know when I got it from my buddy, back when we were both in shop class, years ago, we had access to a lift. He actually brought it out because we had to do some tire changes. They had a tire machine we could use. It was great. You just go there and go, oh, yeah, I got some new 35s. Let me just swap them over to these wheels real quick, and it's part of the class. It was wonderful. But yeah, we had the MJ up on the lift, and there were some pockets on the floor that were already rusting out. So I can't imagine how bad it is now, because I know with the paint, the Bondo is really starting to come off on some sections. So I'm not looking forward to having to do that. Interesting you say something about the instrument panel, because I kind of want to make a digital cluster at some point. If you've ever seen the what's the brand, Intellitronics or some crap like that, the ones with the LED ones that you see for TJs all the time with the LED ring and the digital number in the middle. I really like that, and I want to make my own version of that, but not completely rip them off. I still want to make it my own somehow. I'm thinking maybe putting like an OLED screen or something in the middle. Like if you've ever seen like the Dodge Rams, how they have the little the infotainment screen in the middle. So we could do other things, like we could put the odometer there, you could do outside temperature. If it's for Renix, I could add REM functionality into the dash, so you can go through all your sensors on the dash, and you could show like MPG or stuff like that, or other fun stuff. You could add a 0 to 60 timer and stuff. The only hard part about that is with the cable-driven speedometer. I highly doubt that I'm going to be able to make something that can easily mount to the mechanical cable. So customers would probably have to swap to a digital speedometer, but that's, like 91 and newer Jeeps use that, so you could just get that that sensor and just pop it right in. You just have to run a wire up to the dash. But that'd be the easiest way to make a full digital dash. But I want to do that to the MJ. Like I said, I got really big cyberpunk vibes for the MJ, so I want to do like a digital dash. I want to see if I can do like a really clean daytime running light in the blinker housing. So it'll have like a strip of white on the top and maybe a strip of orange on the bottom to try to make it more modern. I would like to do cool taillights, but I have a feeling that's going to be put way on the back burner just because that's a lot of effort if I do it the way I want to. Maybe do like a light blue, like pinstripe or something like that. And I definitely want to do an electric motor swap, not swap, but addition. For those that haven't heard from the previous stream, I want to make a hybrid Jeep. But this is not for fuel saving, it's for power. So I have a 2.5 liter that has, you know, it's completely gutless down low, and I'd like to enhance it a little bit, shall we say. Real quick, let me get through the comments. Lost cylinder number 4. Cylinder wall was cracked, and I'm assuming let coolant into the cylinder. Oh, hydro locked it. No. Oh my god, man. He lost this thing on the highway. Oh, you poor that is awful, man. Good lord. I'm sure that sounded great right before it blew up. That sucks, man. Piston, just wrist pin and rod as you look down the cylinder. Wow. Okay. Holy crap, dude. That's awful. 4.0s are pretty strong, but they're not indestructible. They have their limits. Would you ever make a module for a 90 to 92 XJ? What kind of module? Like a scan tool? Because if you're talking about like the REM, I want to say yes, but not anytime soon. It could still be years away, honestly, with how little time I have for development these days. But yeah, the next phase would be OBD1. That's 91 to 95. And that would open a very large market for Jeep support, because I know that's another group of people that are hurting. OBD1 guys don't have any support, you know. You can still try to get a Snap-on scanner off of eBay if you're lucky, but they're clunky and big. I'd love to make one. It's just it's time. That's an entirely new computer system to learn, new circuit layouts and protocols and all kinds of crap, and they're a lot smarter than the Renix ones. There's actual brain in that, so you got to learn how to actually talk to the computer. So I know that a couple people have been working on smaller projects like that, and you know, maybe at some point in time I'll see what I can do, but not anytime soon. But it's on my to-do list. It's a very far down the list. I can't decide if I want to do an LS swap or turbo diesel. Plan on using the fan controller for that now. Nice. Well, either way, I think you'll be happy with this. Having adjustable temperature, as well as, you know, you get a free temperature gauge out of this, so if you want to monitor your temps, it really is a great all-in-one package. Like I said, the whole reason I built these is because I wanted one myself, and I love it. I love it to death. They're so fucking cool. Turn the fans on whenever you want. If you feel like you're getting hot in traffic, just blast it on max. It's everything you ever want from a fan controller. I love these things. Ever consider doing an LS swap? It's becoming more and more tempting every day. Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about LS, but here's the thing, I like to be different, you know? Sure, you can sit there and dump a V8 into anything and then it's fast, but how many people have dumped a hybrid into something and made it fast, huh? I'm definitely more on the electric side, you know? People are asking, like, you gonna turbo it or supercharge it or stroke it out or do this? I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna put a big-ass electric motor on it and get maximum chooch at fucking 500 RPM, you know? Like, I'm looking at the system differently. Let's see, I bought a Chrysler OBD1 to OBD2 plug adapter from eBay. Total, yeah, that is a total waste. They're not the same. They don't work at all. People don't. Yeah, OBD1's a mess. Like, you have to have a very, very specific, that's the good thing about OBD2 is the government was finally like, alright, we need to make one standard that everyone sticks to. And that's what OBD2 is. So now, like, no matter what car you have, you can read it. But yeah, until then, you're kind of out of luck. If you want to dig deeper into that, I don't know if this guy's still making them, but it was a guy in Germany. He had a WordPress website. It was like, it was Chrysler CCD SCI at WordPress.com or something like that, and he built a scan tool, but it has to plug into a laptop. I don't know if he ever mass-produced them, but I know he was working on it for a while. So again, Chrysler CCD SCI, and you should be able to find it. But I don't know if he makes them. But yeah, The biggest kick for this hybrid project, there's a couple reasons. When you think about hot rodding, people do that for power and fun. But at some point, your grandfather's carbureted frickin' V8 isn't going to be as exciting as modern technology. I like to try to work with the newer standards. Electric motors are getting cheap. Batteries are starting to come down. The battery's the most expensive thing. But with the batteries, it's not a fixed thing, They have a power rating, but you can push way past that power rating for a short amount of time. So you could say have a 20 horsepower motor, but it could have a 77 horsepower I forget what they call it, like a pulse or like a boost or something. So for like 2 seconds, you can get 3 times what that motor is rated for at current power. You can't do that with a gasoline engine. You can't just push a button and go, yo, make mad power for 2 seconds. No, you're gonna blow that thing to bits. But yeah, the thing that really excites me about electric motors is that they have torque right off the line. With engines, when you look at a power graph, with their torque curve, it's way down at the bottom, and you got to get that sucker up to 3, 4, 5,000 RPM to finally hit your power. With an electric motor, that power starts right at the beginning, right off the line. You're going. You can't do that with an engine, not easily. And for a wimpy little 2.5 liter manual, you kind of need that extra oomph to actually get it going. I've been getting very good at slipping the clutch on that fucking thing to get it going. You freaking rev it up to $3,000 to try to get it to go, especially when it's loaded up with 1,000 pounds of scrap metal in the bed. But yeah, man, that's why an electric motor. The other thing is it doesn't take any engine tuning. So I'm thinking about a belt-driven motor. I have to see how much power you can really put through them. But look at the new Wrangler, the 4xe. Their hybrid system uses an electric motor that's attached just like an alternator, and it drives the serpentine belt, which also drives the engine. So you're putting power into the system that way. It's more, it's a little boost, but I mean, hell, that should be easy enough to make an engine bracket and like a couple tensioner pulleys to make sure it doesn't slip. But after that, all you got to do is mount a motor controller and a battery. And I don't think you even have to tune the engine at all. There's not a single, bit of work that needs to be touched. All you have to do is tune the motor to how much power you want for how much throttle. So you just you can program a torque curve. If you want more torque at the beginning or more at the end, or maybe like a turbo button that you push and then you get like maximum power or something. Like, that's the fun thing with electric motors. You have control. It's not, you don't have to sit there and try to swap out a cam or do injectors or all this crap. It's just like, no, just put type a couple numbers in and boom. You want to download horsepower? That's how you download horsepower. So it's going to be an exciting project. I want to see if I can do it for under $3,000. But yeah, when I have some time, I definitely want to seriously look into this. Let's see. Yes, that's how I am. LS swaps are done so much now. Why was I thinking turbo diesel? I mean, turbo diesels are cool because they have massive amount of torque. That's absolutely. The OM606, oh yeah, 600 horsepower, the stock turbo. I mean, like, that's great. You get fuel economy, you get super torque, you get good, fuel efficiency. And with the turbo, it should really help. The only thing with them, I don't think they're super heavy. But I know some of the other turbo diesels are heavy. That's their biggest downside. It's just they're heavy, and sometimes it takes a while for them to get that horsepower pickup. But for smaller diesels, yeah, that's great. Little 2-liter? Oh my god. That's how you do it. It's all about the torque. Nissan Leaf has an electric motor options, 147 and 214 horsepower. Like, it's so cool, Like, it's a friggin' Nissan Leaf with 200 horsepower. That's more than my Honda Civic out there. And the other thing with the hybrid is, you can also use it for regen. So every time you're braking, it's like a additional engine braking, but you're not wasting that energy. You're putting it back into a battery. So all that energy that you put to the floor to get you moving, when you slow down, every time you hit the brakes, that's wasted energy. That's gasoline that was burnt for nothing. So with the regen, you can get some of that wasted energy back, and it's fuel efficiency. Who doesn't want to save money at the pump? It really is a win-win. That's why I'm so excited about this project. Like, everyone's gonna be like, oh, look at this guy making a freaking hybrid Jeep. But it's, oh my god, once you see the benefits, I think you're gonna come around to it. It's gonna be a really fun project. And it's right up my alley because it's all electronics. I'm sure some guys are probably scared of that because, you know, it's like trying to figure out a motor controller, and hell, wiring a light switch is probably, you know, a challenge. So you see an electric motor, you're like, oh, fuck that, no way. But hopefully I can make a little series to show that it's not all that bad. There's people already doing that, you know, completely electric swapping cars. You know, just drop a little, well, not little, they're big-ass motors, but you drop a big-ass motor in there and you're good to go. But yeah, I wanna do something different. I wanna make my little cyber Jeep. Let's see, how are you adapting it into the system? You wouldn't download a horsepower. You wouldn't download a car. Fuck yeah, I would. You can now with 3D printers. But yeah, like I said, I'm doing a lot of research on hybrids and how people do that, like how manufacturers do it. But what I'm looking at is it's a belt-driven hybrid system, so it mounts like an alternator. On the real cars, they actually replace the alternator with this. They call it it's a something generator. I forget what they call it, but it's a something. But basically, it's a motor that also acts as a generator. So when you're in regen mode, it'll make power, but it might have two separate circuits because it's got a 12-volt supply and a 48-volt supply. That's the other thing. You know how like with engines, you got your octane for fuel. Well, with electric motors, all you got to do is add more voltage. You know, it's like you got a 48-volt system, 96, 144. The more voltage you can put to it, the less amperage you need for the same amount of power. So it's more efficient. It makes less heat. It's just you got to make sure that it's insulated and can handle the higher voltage. But yeah, man, you just like you decide you want more power one day, you just put a bigger battery in, and boom, you know, you got more power. Like that's the thing. It's once you get it figured out, they're fun. Electric is nice, but the weight and space needed for batteries is what I think is holding electric swaps back. Yeah. I bought a 2-door XJ that a guy converted into an electric vehicle using it. Really? So he got by with an AX5? I mean, I guess if the electric motor wasn't making a crap ton of power, that's okay. That's the biggest thing I'm worried about, is I got an AX4 in that MJ, so I'm not going to do frickin', you know, burnouts and launches with that thing, because I hear a lot of people say it's kind of weak. So, yeah, I don't want to push them too hard. I guess depending on how the swap goes, I could always do an AX15 later. But even then, I hear they don't have a ton of power. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to do, like I said, I want to do a lot of reading on that, but if I'm only doing a belt-driven system, it's not going to make that much power anyway. It's just going to be a nice little turbo boost. But you could probably do a lot of fun things with that. Dirt Lifestyle Nate goes a lot. Yeah, that's the first thing I was thinking about. Nate, he used to be at Bleepa Jeep, and now he's got his own channel, which I'm super happy that he was able to make his own brand up out of that, because he definitely had like his own style going. But yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. He had that little dinky turbo that could push 40s and got whatever MPG it got. It was like 30 something MPGs in a Jeep on 40s. Like, that's nuts. You know, sometimes you got to think out of the box a little bit, because it'll definitely pay off. I mean, you could buy a Leaf and use it as a donor to build. There was a Ford Ranger that they made in Los Alamos that ran on flywheels. 2 in a pack and 8 packs, I believe it was. 800 horsepower, 400-mile range. What the fuck? That's so cool. I was thinking about maybe doing a donor vehicle, if I can find the right one, but that requires a lot of research into what each vehicle system uses, if there's a standard and how they're all bolted up and what it uses. My biggest problem is adapting the motor into the system, because I don't plan on making drastic changes. You know, I don't want to have to figure out some crazy flywheel clutch system or some kind of like transmission unless it actually bolted up easy. But I very much doubt that you're going to find a hybrid transmission in a manual. So yeah, my idea is just going to be a belt-driven system, because it should be, you know, easy as pie to slap on there, and then you could go from there. I guess if the power's really crazy, you could do a ribbed, not ribbed, but whatever the belt is, where they have I don't know what you would call that, but like when you look at like super horsepower builds where they got those superchargers that are making like 1200 horsepower, and they got those real thick ass belts that have all the lines in them so that it like grips it almost like your teeth. You could do that for more power. I want to convert my E30 or Dad's 240 sedan to electric. Yeah, full electric conversions are cool. You know, it's like a Tesla, but again, you got the range anxiety and you got to deal with the batteries and all that. That's the hybrid system I kind of like because you could do both. He told me he would leave the line in second gear. It was a massive motor running 24 golf cart. What the fuck? He machined an adapter to fit onto the shaft of the motor and fit the splines on the trans. Working on a Porsche 911 GT converting to electric for autocross racing. That's so friggin' cool, man. I love it. Yeah. My first idea was like, all right, how can I make a motor that like mounts onto the to the crankshaft pulley? But that sounds like a lot of work. So I think the belt-driven system should be like the easiest way to just get things going for now. But yeah, I'm looking into eBay batteries now. Since it is a belt drive, we want a small motor. You know, we're not trying to do a Warp 9 or anything like that because those things are massive. They're like 200 pounds, and they cost thousands of dollars unless you can find like a really good steel somewhere. There's a company, I forget what it's called, but it's like Moto something. I want to say like Motorad or something. I think it's Australian based, but they have some electric motors that are really compact. They're water cooled, so if I want to get crazy with it, I'd have to make my own loop, or add like an extra cooler and hook it into the coolant system of the Jeep, because they got to stay cool and they want to stay cooler than the engine is. But yeah, I think he said it was only like a 40-pound motor. It's a something 1616, I think it is. I forget what it is. It might be like, I want to look it up actually. I forget if I have the picture still. But that motor I think I could get for like $800 or $900, and that was like it was a 20 horsepower 20 horsepower continuous, 77 horsepower peak. Yeah, I don't have it there. I forget what it's called, but it's something like that. I saw it. I found it on eBay because I just started searching up like electric kits, electric conversion kits, but that popped up. Pretty sure it's a 1616, but I'm not seeing it. Oh wait, I think I have it written down on my notes list because I'm smart. Yeah, ME 1616. Okay, I was close. ME. Yeah, yeah, it's water cooled, 96 volt motor, 250 amp continuous. Yeah, it's brushless. Brushless, 20 kilowatt. But it's a cool little thing, you know. It looks pretty compact. Yeah, this website, they got it for like $1,000, but I know depending on where you buy it from, you can get it even cheaper than that. Yeah, continuous current of 250 amps and peak current of 550 amps AC for 1 minute. Good lord, because it's water cooled. Oh my god, that's so cool. I can't even imagine how much power that is. Good lord. Alright. So the only problem about streaming is I definitely don't get as much work done. Actually, real quick, I think someone messaged me. Just gotta check that real quick. Come on. Come on. Okay. Alright, I think the Ford Explorer Hybrid used the design where the electric motor was in between the motor and the trans. That would probably be the easiest way for doing a hybrid. Yeah, I've seen that one before, the like the flywheel things. So there's some website I'm reading, like basically at work whenever it's slow, that goes through everything, like the drivetrain options, the efficiency levels, how much power, what it's called. Excuse me. The official term is a mild hybrid electric vehicle, I think is what it's called, an MHEV. And what that is, it's that the electric motor is only assisting the gas-powered engine. So it's not like a full electric, it's not a plug-in. Although, I mean, technically if you add a charger, it's sort of like a plug-in, but yeah. They're labeled like P0, P1, P2, P3. So you have the belt-driven one that drives the motor's accessory belt drive. You have one that goes on the flywheel between the engine and trans. You have one that mounts inside the transmission, and then you have one that mounts on the rear differential or the hubs. So at first I was looking at hub motors because I thought that was cool, because then you could also convert your two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive. So you put electric hub motors on the front, and now you got electric four-wheel drive. That could also be used for better regenerative braking and all that. But I couldn't really find a system that I liked. They all seem kind of weird and expensive. So that's why I'm just sticking with an accessory belt drive. I would have to look and see what it would take to do something in between the transmission and engine. The nice thing about the 2.5 liter is, since there's a lot of open room in the front, I guess I wouldn't want to push the transmission back, because then what do you do about the shifter? But I could move the engine forward, and that might be enough room for a motor. The only like super duper benefit with that would be if you find a motor with a clutch. Oh well, no, because then it wouldn't be attached to the transmission. Alright, well, now I don't like it as much. I was gonna say, if you can decouple the engine and the motor so that you could drive in all electric mode, so that way if you want to creep off of street lights or whatever, stuff like that, that's really cool if you can decouple the engine and trans. But yeah, I don't think that would work unless it was a hub drive or a transmission mount where you can decouple the two. But yeah, I had this other idea to basically make a start-stop system. So since if the belt has enough torque to actually start the engine, which I think it might, since it's a dinky little 2.5 liter, I mean, how hard is that thing to really start? But you could come to a light and let the engine stall and just leave it in gear. And then when you're ready to take off, you just hit the gas and the electric motor will start pushing the motor. The electric motor will start pushing the gas engine, and then you can take off without even having to clutch. So that kind of eliminates the issue of even needing like the engine running. You just leave it in gear and then just creep off the line until you get to a high enough RPM that the engine can fire. So that's something I want to experiment with, is like a stop-start system, but mostly just for driving, and in a way that's sort of like a racing application, because obviously with manuals you have to shift every single time you're going through gears, and if you can eliminate a shift, you might save yourself some time. So if you could take off in second gear and have enough power to get yourself really moving, you just eliminated a shift point right off the line until the engine fires up, and then all you gotta do is get your 2 to 3 shift down, and you might have a chance. Who knows? I don't know. Again, like I said, I want to see what these systems are capable of. But I definitely see this as like the future of hot rodding is electric motors and hybrid systems, because there's just so much like potential power gain. The only thing really holding us back is the batteries. I'm seeing lots of good battery technology coming up lately. So in the next 10 years or so, I think, oh man, there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff going on. There really is. Because like when you think about it, at that point you have a massive battery on you, but you can use that energy for anything. So you can use it with an inverter. You could run power tools or something like a workshop, or you could run your house or certain accessories of your house during an emergency if your power goes out, stuff like that. You can use like solar or wind to collect energy, so instead of having to go to a pump, you can be sort of environmentally friendly and just get it from natural resources like that. I've been hearing that some hybrid manufacturers are looking at doing a two-way electric battery. So for people that have solar panels and they're not using their cars a lot, they kind of use the battery as a buffer. So in the daytime, it absorbs the energy from the solar and the wind, and at night, it slowly releases it back on the grid to try to balance it out. That's one of the issues with renewable resources, is there's way too much of it during the day and there's none of it at night. So that makes a very imbalanced system. So when the power company has to balance that out with other like reactors and coal and fuel and stuff like that, it makes it a little more annoying. So with this system, they're hoping that maybe they can balance the grid a little bit by taking in all that extra during the day and then letting it out at night. But I guess I wonder how much of the range would be affected by that, your vehicle's driving range and stuff like that. But that's something new that they're just working on now. I think Volkswagen wants to make all their whole fleet of cars do that. But yeah, that's some really cool stuff. Get 2 or 3 of the Explorer motors, since they mate right to the trans, then use a Mazda rotary engine to run a generator. That's another way you could do it, yeah, if you want to do like a generator approach. So you just have a small motor that makes electricity. You always run it at the perfect RPM, so it's the most efficient like power per fuel consumption, and then you have like a portable generator that way. But you're not exactly reducing your emissions as much with that approach. It's not bad, but is that like the Tesla Powerwall? Yeah, basically. It's basically a portable Tesla Powerwall. That's what it is. They're using the battery in your car to balance energy. You know, it's energy storage that you can manipulate in all kinds of ways. So it's really cool to think about that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what the future brings. Okay, so we finally got the jacks done. That was a little longer than usual, but oh well. Now we're putting on the temperature probe connectors. I kind of messed up the footprint of this a little bit on the Spade terminals, so I kind of got to bend them a little tiny bit to make sure that it'll fit. But it's still very much usable. Yeah. I've seen other uses for electric motors too, like if you still want to like have like a turbo on your car but don't like turbo lag. That's one of the main reasons I'm kind of against the turbos, is because of the turbo lag. You know, like when you want your power, you want it right off the line. You don't want to hit the gas and have to wait and wait and wait and go, oh, there's my power, thanks. But you could do an electric turbo, but like actually do it right, where it's like a 48 volt system that runs the turbo electrically, that you can build boost instantly when you need it. Is that 6039 one solder or the cheap stuff? No, this is the good stuff, man. This right here is it's Kester brand. It's the 6337, and it's got lead in it, so it's not going to be whatever. It's not the unleaded crap, you know. It's still the real stuff. You can't get ROHS certified with that ROHS because it's got lead, but yeah, this stuff is great. I actually got another bundle ready to go once this one's done. It's amazing how long these last. I get them in 1 pound rolls. The old leaf blower turbo, yeah, basically, but one that actually works. You know, the one is silver. Oh, really? It's got like a silver in it. I think this one's brown. But yeah, this is the stuff that I've been using. It's like the basic mix. I did some research on solder years ago when I was trying to find a good brand, and I don't know, it seemed like a common one that still did the job. I'm happy with it. It's at a good price too. Pair that with the with my Hacko. What number is this? The classic is the FX888D, the blue and yellow goofy looking one. Dude, the tips that they sell with these are amazing. This has been the same tip since I bought the iron. I bought a new tip because I figured, oh, I'm probably going to burn through it. But I've had this soldering iron for like years. I don't even remember how many years now. I want to say like three years, maybe even 4. And this thing's still going on the same tip. So I don't know if they coat the tip with something, but it's amazing. This thing has lasted forever with the little dinky Radio Shack irons and stuff like that with the copper ones. Oh my god, you eat through them so quick. I would have to start replacing a tip every month, and they were the long tips. So yeah, whatever Hacko did to these tips, it's great. 60 is lead, 39 is tin, 1 silver. Oh, interesting. It's a 60, 39, 1. Okay. Yeah, this is just the 6337. It's not like the 6040. It's like, I heard that this mix was like a little better than the 6040. But yeah, I'll have to take a look at the silver. Never choose rubbish over high performance. I love it. Yep, exactly. You know, like, there's some things you just can't change, man. Oh, were you the one that was emailing me about that Russ FI? I've been meaning to get back to that email. I've just been so overworked that I couldn't really get back to you on that. But yeah, he was sending me emails about like a replacement ECU for the Jeeps, one that you could tune and do stuff. Yeah, that'd be awesome. It's just, again, my plate's a little full right now. There's a lot of things I want to do. Also some personal projects I want to do as well. But yeah, at some point in time, a tunable kit would be great. But I think my first step is going to be just see if I can make a chip for the current ECUs. So if people want to desolder their prom chip and put one in that's programmable, then you can chip your ECU like the old days and do it like that for now. So at least you have some kind of adjustability before you go frickin' bananas with a full kit. Because that's money, you know? I don't have a ton of free money to play with right now. I've got like enough to do my projects and then some personal money. I'd like to do a garage at some point and see if I can maybe get a lift in there for a decent price. I'm trying to get one for like under $2,500 that'll fit and I'm happy with. I was looking at like scissor jacks and the mid lifts and all kinds of crap like that, but I don't know. Again, this is still the planning stage. But I have a Weller for 90. Keep a wet sponge cylinder in a small dish to wipe the tip. Yep. Yeah, this one's got the sponge. I barely use the sponge though. Like I'll clean the tip like, I don't know, once a month or something like that. But I have the little the copper, or I guess the brass stringy stuff that you just poke in there and kind of clean the tip a bit. Yeah, it does fantastic. Can't complain. But yeah, there's so many projects, man. I wish there were more of me so I could really start getting this stuff going. Because I want to complain about assembly and the fact that I got to build stuff, but at the same time, it's relaxing. I don't have to think when I do this. It's just like, it's something you can kind of do in the background, just pass the time and just, you know? It's easy to do the stuff you've already done before. Okay, so now the fun part, getting to the connector business. So we've got our Spade terminals here. 2, 4. And I got the big bag here. That's another thing, keeping stock of all these damn parts. You get really good at organization. That's part of my notes is the buy section for things I get low on. Because I always forget until I run out. But yeah, the Spade connectors, these were kind of a pain in the butt to find. Because the people, like, when I look on DigiKey, this is the only version that I could find. But if you notice how close they are together, when you put your Spade terminal on, they damn near touch each other. So when they have a row of 8 long, they're so close when you put the protectors on there that you can't physically fit them. So what I had to do is just buy little 2s. So when you mount them, you make the connectors oppose each other to make the room, and then I spaced them out so that way you actually have the room to fit them in there. But yeah, the spades were kind of a pain in the butt to figure out. It also makes them a little harder to install, because they're all loosey-goosey and they don't really stay. So you gotta like tack an end down. But gotta make sure the customers get what they want. If the fan controllers really take off, I might start trimming options. I think the first thing I'm going to trim is the 45-degree block, because they don't really sell. Because we have our 90-degree over here, where the wire comes out the top. So, like, when this is mounted on the firewall, it's going to look like this. So they come right out the side. Well, the 45-degree, it kind of comes, like, up a little, or I guess down a little, so it might be easier to get to the screws, but I don't know. It wasn't very popular, and it's kind of a weird form factor. Like on the same holes, they definitely mount in different areas of the board. Like this one's off to the edge, and this one's centered. But I'm probably going to drop the 45. I would honestly right now if I didn't have a bag full of them. Because when I first started, I ordered a big old bag of them and sold like none of them, so they're kind of just sitting around as like old stock. But that's why I keep it for now. Could you write a program for the fan that would count the cycles per time period and throw it into a 1 min or so run to lower the cycling of the relays? What's a 1 min? Like 1 minute? I think I know what you're saying. So basically, like you're looking to make sure that if it's triggering too many times to keep it more delayed. That sounds kind of possible, but also a little overkill. Or maybe not overkill, but I'll just say overcomplicated. Only because technically that part falls onto the user. One of the settings for the easy mode for the fan controllers, you set your target temperature and you set your delay. So the delay is the how many degrees up or down until the fan either comes on or comes off. So that is basically what you're thinking of. Like if it's cycling too much, you add an extra degree of delay to fix that. But I see what you're saying, but it's kind of difficult to incorporate that. It's definitely, if I had a lot of free code space, I'd be more willing to. But with a limited amount of code, that might be a tougher sell. But that's kind of where that smart prediction code would come. I guess that would go hand in hand. Because that would get rid of the delay factor, and then you can just set the set your cycle time based off the temperature. But that is an idea. So right now what I'm doing with these spade terminals is I'm just tacking down one corner. I like to solder them from the bottom, mostly because it's just easier to get to them. But I have to tack at least one so they stay in place. But I could do that 4 times because there's 4 separate modules. On a hot day, it would go into an extended run, no need to adjust for those Moab trips. Getting ready for work. Well, I'm glad you could hang around for a little while. Like I said, this is my first job. I gotta go to my second job later today, so I won't be running for too much longer. Still got a few hours though. But absolutely, you can always check the streams later too if you're really bored. Apparently some people like listening to this stuff. It's good background music, so I feel you. But I should also say, yeah, if you're just having really like temperature problems in general, you can just set it to max mode. That's what I do when I go to Utah. I just leave it on max. That way the thing just starts running. But yeah, I mean, that could be interesting to add a, maybe we'll call it an overkill mode. So it's more aggressive to keep it cold, but it also, if your engine for some reason does finally drop down, It's not like overcooling to the point of being ridiculous, but that's a very unlikely scenario, but just in case. An overkill mode could be interesting. Or a boost mode or something like that. Definitely like that. I was playing with the idea of making a gauge pod version of the TFC, so if you don't like the square setup, you could probably do like a round one, because I think the form factor could work. Because with the nifty shifter screens, that's the gauge pod size. So if you had, how big would that be? That would be like there. I don't know if it would fit the screen. You might have to do a smaller screen. But the biggest problem would be the buttons. So I guess if you mounted the buttons on the bottom or something like that, you might be able to squeeze that all in there. It might have a little bit of stick out, but a gauge pod TFC was an idea I was kind of playing with as a form factor, but it would require completely redoing the board. That's the main reason why the REM clocks are taking so long, because I have to redo the board for the form factor. Dang, those are a little crooked. Yeah, that was an idea that I had for the TFCs. What? Oh, my tip's not big enough for that. Yeah, this is what I dropped down. Hard to get them straight. Gotta figure out a better way to mount them. Maybe I'll have to tack both corners down. It's always a learning curve. Okay. Let's see. The Escorts had a funky fan control that would fry the motors. They replaced those PS controllers with a toggle switch and poof, no more problems. I like the idea of a display so one could watch Sailor Moon. What? I mean, I guess that's an idea, is I could change the screen type. I could do like an OLED or something. But yeah, that's definitely an idea. But yeah, you'd be surprised how sometimes it's important to have the right kind of controllers. It's all about how much power you're putting down. Make sure that you're not having sparking contacts and stuff like that. Like, gotta make sure that you have spark suppression. Especially the relays. Relays are really like noisy because they're coils, so they're inductors. When you turn them off, they have all that energy that has to like it has to go somewhere, and since it doesn't have anywhere to go, it makes the voltage shoot up. So you get these like massive voltage spikes from relays. But that's what catch diodes are for. All right. Man, I'm getting hungry. What am I gonna do for lunch today? Ooh, I think there's some empanadas in the fridge. I'm gonna do some of that, I think. That sounds like a good lunch. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about garages. That's something that I would like to see sometime soon. I'd like to say this year, but I don't know. With the way I am, things are usually pretty delayed. But I'm just looking around the neighborhood. I'm just looking. I'm like, oh, everyone has a garage except for me. Okay, that's cool. The hard part is just figuring out what to do with the side yard. Because right now it's just like kind of a block of grass. But when I look at everybody's yard, you know, they obviously have a driveway that goes all the way out to the garage. So it depends how far back I want to mount it. I could tack it onto the side of the house, but then my generator has to go, and the electrical meter would have to be moved. So I don't know how expensive that would be. It'd probably be more annoying than anything. But yeah, I guess I'd have to do like some kind of paved driveway or something out to the garage. And then we gotta figure out a new parking situation, because right now everyone parks up front. So we might have to do like 2 rows, or at least have one opening that cars can go in and out. But I think I'm gonna fix the drone because the camera's acting up a little bit. It doesn't want to work right. I'm gonna go take some aerial shots and try to plan it out and do a little Photoshop-y business. Figure out how I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing it'd be really nice to do a like a 2-car. So I work on a mail sorting equipment, and the solenoids would take your skin off. They get so hot. I bet. Oh my god, yeah, solenoids get so hot. Depends how much power they're pushing, but oh yeah. 2, 4, 6. It's hot stuff. Yeah, I'm thinking like a two-car garage, probably like 24 wide, 24 feet by. Ideally, I want to do more than 24 long, 26 minimum. 30 would be cool, but it depends on the price and what place I can go from. I think I'm gonna do a metal one, mostly for cost, because when you look at the wooden ones, they're like, they come to twice the price, and like, I don't know, I feel like you can get so much more for the metal. The only thing is you probably have to insulate it to make it a more temperature comfortable, because it's probably, I think they sound like tin cans when there's nothing on the walls. But yeah, you save a lot of money going metal, and you pay a little bit to insulate it, and then it should be good. The one I was looking at was what was this? It was a 24 by 26, and with all the options that I was looking at, I think it comes out to like 11 grand, and I think that includes the delivery and installation possibly. So yeah, 11 grand to get a garage, and all I have to do is a concrete base. I don't know what concrete costs, but the section where my pool used to be, that's a big section of concrete that would have to be done. And then if I want to do a driveway all the way out to the garage, that's another section of concrete, so you might as well do it all in one. But yeah, I want to get some pricing and see what it takes to get this job done. It'd be cool to get everything for like 15, but I don't know what the concrete goes for. So don't need that anymore. Put that over there. Ooh, I got boxes. Well, somebody's got boxes. See if any are for me. There's a Rock Auto box I'm waiting for today. Some more parts. Hopefully I don't have to sign for any of these. I don't think so. Nope, we're good. Cool. That's one of the benefits of having a business, is it's like it feels like Christmas every week. There's always new boxes showing up at your door, because you always forgot something, so you have to order more stuff. Garages, Jeeps. Doing some home improvement too, trying to clean up the yard a little bit, make it look nice. there's still a lot of footage I want to put together. One of the upcoming videos is going to be on the robot lawnmowers that I got last year. So I forget how I found them. I think I just searched them and found a company. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then I started looking on eBay and found that some people were actually selling them for a pretty decent price. So yeah, I've got robotic lawnmowers now. Hey, somebody's here. Hello. But yep, I got some lawnmowers that kind of do their own little thing. You have to run a perimeter wire all the way around the yard. That's probably the most annoying part. That takes a little while, but you start to get really good at deciding your boundary, like your lawn boundary. They're not very smart. Basically, if you asked your 5-year-old to cut the lawn, that's about what you can expect. They run for about 2 hours, and it's just like a Roomba. It basically just bounces around randomly, cutting. So it's not going to be, you know, it's definitely likely to miss sections. The one that I got was one of basically their lowest model. It's only recommended to cut like a 1/20th of an acre. And I'm pretty sure my front yard's a lot bigger than that. The perimeter wire is so long, so once it's done, it has to find its way home. So it basically just, yeah, it's an underground wire. Well, underground. It's in the dirt. I don't know, a couple inches. But yeah, it's just a copper wire that you have to run all the way around. But yeah, when it wants to go home, it just drives straight until it finds the perimeter wire, and then it follows it all the way home. But I guess it has a protocol in it that if it feels like it's been driving for too long, it just gives up. So, yeah, my yard perimeter is so big that sometimes it gives up. And it's sad because it's probably, I want to say, like 10 feet away from the charger when it gives up. So I just I'll look and go, oh look, there it is. It died before it got home, the poor bastard. So yeah, it's definitely a little underpowered. But that's another project that's kind of ticking at me, is if I could program that to make it better. That would be a really fun project. Like if I wasn't running a business, I would take that on to reprogram it to be smarter. But yeah, it is. It's got a bunch of wire stakes and everything like that. If you want to look them up, the company's RoboMow. It's the RX20. It's a little turtle-looking thing that just runs around and cuts the grass. It doesn't do well in high grass. When I got it, it was the middle of summer, and my grass was huge. There was so much grass, it just couldn't. It's a little smart. It's smart and it's dumb. Like, it's basically done as cheaply as possible. So it's got 2 little wheels on it, so it drives around kind of like a tank. And it doesn't even have any bumpers. It doesn't have bumpers or sensors, anything like that. All it has is stall motor detection. So basically when it runs into something and the tires get stuck, it detects that current increase and goes, oh, I must have hit something. Let me back up and turn around. Well, the problem is, if it's in soft dirt, or the way that the front lip is designed on it, sometimes it drives up little things. If it goes up a little rock, it'll get stuck and the wheels just free spin in the air and it just gets stuck there. And it'll go, oh, let me back up. But the way that the lip is, now it's stuck on this lip and it can't get itself back off. So many, many times I went outside and saw it stuck on something stupid. So yeah, since it doesn't have a real bumper, you have to really make sure you set your perimeter wire correctly. It comes with a ruler. So yeah, it comes with a ruler so that you can make sure that the perimeter wire is set the correct distance away from stuff. But yeah, it's very necessary that you set that up right. So it gets stuck a lot, and it doesn't do a very good job cutting. When it drives over something, yeah, whatever it drove over is cut, but it's a narrow path, and it just bounces around randomly. So you just got to hope that over a 2-hour period that it has randomly driven over all your grass. So yeah, they sell higher tier models that do quarter acre and half acre and stuff like that, but they go for $1,000, $2,000. And if they're still just as dumb as that one, it's not worth the money. Unless if you can get a deal and buy one of these things for $500 or $600 on eBay, it's worth it. If you gotta pay $900 new, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth $900 for a fucking 5-year-old to cut your grass. The biggest benefit is just that, like, you don't have to do the job anymore, so you just push the button and walk away and hope it's good. And if not, tell it to mow again tomorrow, and hopefully it picks up where it left off. But yeah, I'd love to do some smart programming where first, when it comes out of the base, it will drive around the entire perimeter and make a map of your perimeter outline. And then what it'll do is just sit there and draw lines. So it'll zigzag. It'll just go forward and backwards and just bounce from thing to thing and cut the grass. I mean, I'm sure you could do just about any pattern you want. But the basic idea is to get an internal map of your yard and then do some kind of some pattern drawing and then just tell it to follow the pattern. But the hardest part with that is making sure that the robot is actually on track. If it hits a rock or it gets stuck or if the wheels are slipping or if it's not following the path the way that it thinks, then that might not work too well. So again, it depends on the accuracy of the robot and how good the code is and that, but I feel like any kind of smartness is probably better than just randomizing. You have a much higher percentage that you're going to get everything cut, especially with multiple passes. You know, you're not going to rely on one pass. You're going to tell to, you know, go 2-3 passes or until the battery's drained. But yeah, I would love to do that to make it just a little smarter. And also the biggest thing that bums me out is when it's following the perimeter wire to go home, it doesn't cut. So that means everything on the side is like kind of uneven and just terrible. Like I really wish it would do perimeter cutting. Oh, we have a question. Can I help you? What would you like to ask? Okay, adapters are done. Yippity doo dah. Okay, so now in the meantime, let's see how the other adapter turned out. That's not looking bad. So, you want to see what an hour and 50 minutes looks like? I'm glad I don't have grass. Yeah. I said, I'm not usually the greatest at staying on top of things, so I usually mowed my grass like once every 2 weeks with a lawn tractor. And we also had a shitty fence on the side that was literally screwed into the posts. So every time you wanted to mow the front lawn, you had to unscrew the fence and move it over. And it was rickety and falling apart, and the panels were fucking popping out. It was awful. Yeah, that made mowing even worse. But yeah, now we have a new fence with gates that actually latch. This is like amazing. Now that like I'm pushing my dad to actually get things done, we're really cleaning the place up. So now we have a nice fence so I can get outside. But now I got the robot, so I'm actually waiting for. Now the hardest part is just deciding when to mow the grass, because every day I go outside, I'm like, it's got to get mowed. It's got to get mowed. Should I do it? But I don't want to mow it too often because I feel like now I got to learn how grass actually works. You know, does it have to come up and seed and then spread its seed everywhere to help the lawn stay rich and thick? And what time's the best time to mow? You know, do you mow in the morning? Do you mow at night? Do you mow in the day? I don't really water it, so I want to make sure that I'm not like stressing the grass out too much, because every time you cut it, it has to recover from the cut. So there's stuff like, now I'm starting to overthink about cutting grass. I'm like, that's just what I do, but okay. Anyway, this is the new stuff right here. So that actually looks really good. So let's see how the click looks. Oops. That's not gonna happen when the thing's in there, but yeah, that looks good. That looks real good. Look at that. Hell yeah. So that should be hella water protected. I love it. That comes off pretty easy too. Oh yeah, snap fit, baby. Fuck yeah. Cool. So I think the adapters passed the test. I like that. That's good. So our adapters are good. Put this away, put that away. For people that wonder, that aren't as familiar with soldering, so these two things, this right here is flux. So when you buy solder, usually there's a amount of like rosin core flux that is like it's a cleaning agent basically. It gives the solder joint a clean environment to work in, so it's not oxidizing, because when the atmosphere is being exposed to it, solder gets all blobby and disgusting and it's not clean. So if you're ever having issues with a joint, that's why sometimes adding new solder makes it look nice, because there's a little flux in the new solder that's helping everything work. So with this, it's just the flux. So this is no clean, it's just a liquid that you can just squeeze on and do stuff. But yeah, the flux is good for better joints. And then this stuff, this is your solder eraser. This is whatever the heck, it's soldering wick or desoldering braid. So it's literally copper, and I think it's got some kind of chemical in it. So you touch that onto the joint and the solder gets sucked onto this. So if there's ever too much solder, you can just wick it back up. Because when you're working on these itty bitty tiny fine pins, you got to make sure that none of them are jumped. So someone asked, is that better than solder core flux? No, I mean it's used in addition. So having a fluxless solder would be a pain in the ass to use. So yeah, absolutely get one that's got a flux core of some type. I forget what this one has, if it says anything. But it's got something. It's a no clean flux. But yeah, that's just especially for when I'm doing SMD repairs and I'm trying to get the chips off. You just spray a little bit of that on there with the heat gun and it comes off. But yeah, it's very useful. I have a trailer and an XJ, so basically an MJ. Yeah, it's a long MJ. But yeah. Oh man. Okay, so now our adapters are done. Oh yeah. So now we have to make sure that the cases are good. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So alright, we have to go export those. So let's go to our good old friend Tinkercad. I'll bring you up a little bit. Yeah, I use Tinkercad for my CAD designing for all my 3D stuff. It works. It's definitely not ideal or the greatest, but it does the job. You basically just take shapes and cut different shapes out, and then you make stuff with it. So after enough cutting and designing, you can get something. But yeah, so now we're going to export them. So we've got our side and our 90. How many cases we need? We need... Okay, we have basically all rear. Okay, 2 side and 6 rear. Good to know. So I guess we'll print a rear one and make sure that works. Okay, so we go in here, we select our model, export to STL. That's part 1. Then we go over here, export this, STL. Then we go over here, we export this, STL. Okay. Now, after we do that, we have to make sure that our files are named correctly so that we don't forget what the frick we just downloaded. So I have a naming system so that I can go through all my different design iterations easy. So first we have our 3-digit code for what the item is. So if it's an REM or a TFC or an NS Junior or whatever. So we have our TFC, and then what I do is I capitalize what the item is. So if it's a cover, if it's an adapter, if it's a cap, whatever, I'll capital letters make that the big one, so you can quickly scan and go, okay, that's TFC, and then the big one is, okay, that's a block, that's a spade, that's a whatever, and then after the fact is the naming. So this is a TFC, it is a case rear, since it's a rear open, and then after that is the design iteration, so I use Roman numerals. So if you ever look on a case and you see Roman numerals somewhere, that's the design iteration. So if you look on this one, it's really small, but there's a little X there. That means that this is the 10th iteration of this version. It's not on all parts, but it's on most parts. Same with this. This one just so happens to be an X2, but we're about to print an XI. So this is a TFC case rear XI. So that way we know exactly which one it is, and in case I ever improve or make additions or whatever, it's easy enough to see what actually changed. Okay, so we have our case rear. The next one is the door. So this is TFC door rear XI. And then this is the TFC clip. I think the clips are the same regardless. So we can just have one clip. Okay, so that's that. So now we will move over to the other computer because my design software, the slicer doesn't work on my Mac anymore. One of the updates screwed it up, but only on this one, where when it goes to print, the cooling fans turn off. So everything's perfectly fine, but the cooling fans shut off when the print starts. And when that happens, there's temperature creep, and it makes everything blobby and disgusting, and it's like it gets all warped, and it's terrible. So I have a Windows machine that I have to use just for slicing so that I can get my workflow going again. So that one's fun. Okay. I probably can't show you much, but oh, maybe I can. Look at that. I might be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so now we go over here. Computer, activate. Oh, it feels good to stand. What do you need? This flash drive is going to get a hell of a workout, that's for sure. Okay. Blubbity blubbity blah, blah blah blah. So now we take these files here, pop them into that. Okay. And then we bring it over to that computer. And now we put it into the slicer. Oh, look at that puppy dogs. Look at that puppy dogs. Alright, so for people that don't know much about designing stuff, now we're on the slicing aspect. So we made the 3D file on our CAD, so now we have a digital representation of what we want. But now we need to convert that file to printer stuff, so the printer knows how to turn that file into a physical thing. So the slicer converts it from a file into like G-code or whatever. It just tells the printer what it needs to do to make what you want. So now we drop it into this thing. And that'll give us what we want. So there's lots of fiddly farting around to make sure that the slicer is doing what you want it to do. There's so many different things that need to be adjusted. 3D printer's not easy. They take lots of messing around to get it just right. Like, for instance, I'll show you two objects here, and I'll let you decide which one you like more. So there's the top and the bottom. Let's see if I can put that against the backdrop. Yeah, you tell me which one you like more. Notice not just the text, but also the cleanliness of the lines. If I can maybe go like that. So if you notice, there's lots of like stringing and like crap on the front. So all of this was because I didn't have my retraction setting right. So every time it moves, it sucks a little filament up so that it looks cleaner. And I guess I accidentally disabled that, so it basically completely messed up the print. And with the text, that is because the black printed before the red. I found out when I'm doing this stuff that I need to print the text first. So when I have it set now, I have the red print first, and then the black comes after, because otherwise you get all this grossness here. So yeah, it's amazing what one little change can do to an entire product's look. What firmware is your 3D printer running? So this one down here is a Qidi Tech 1. I think it's using Sailfish or whatever the hell it's called. It's a good question. I don't know. It always tells me, but I've never looked into it. Yeah, Sailfish. It's version 7.8, and it's the R, whatever the R is. It just says R01234. But yeah, Sailfish 7.8. And then for the slicer, I'm using the slicer that came with the printer. It's kind of like a knockoff of Cura, I think, but it's just called Qidi Print. Never heard of Sailfish. Yeah, Sailfish was like another. I don't know if it's a more common one or if it's a Chinese knockoff one or whatever, but yeah, that's what these ones work with. Again, that's part of what happens when you try to save money. These printers are down to like almost $500 now for a dual extruder, heated bed, fully enclosed printer. Like, that's a great deal. But again, sometimes you gotta worry about the aftermath of support and crap like that. So there's always the good with the bad. Okay, so we can delete this. Bye-bye. So we can slice these now. No, I fucked up. I forgot one. Oops. One more file. I actually forgot the text inlay. So to do that red and black text thing, it's actually a separate file. So I have to make the cutout on the one, and on the other I need to do the fill. And then you just line them up in the program afterwards. So we cannot forget that. Okay. So okay, we got this. Go to this. Go to that. Okay. So this one is TFC text rear XI. Okay. Now I can put that there. And now we can do this. Oop. Guess he wasn't ready to eject. Oh well. So fun story. I have a bit of a ground wire continuity problem. Found it by jiggling wires and watching for the little light on the REM to stop being yellow. Nice. I'm glad that helped. That's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing what you can find out through stuff like that. I love to hear stuff like that when people find issues. Especially weird ones like that, you know. That's not just a regular reading. That's like an intermittent issue. Those are the worst kind, man. Intermittent, terrible. Ugh. Okay, so now we can take all of these and dump them in. And you're sure that we take our text and put it on the left extruder so it prints in the right color. Whoop. And we just drag it and line it up. Whoop. Really get in there and make sure it's perfect. Okay, so it's that. The other thing with the slicing software is that you have to make sure it's oriented properly, because you got to make sure that the printer can physically print it, and you want to make sure that you use the least amount of supports possible, because that's stuff you have to trim off later. So even when I'm in the designing process, I have to think about how can I design this thing to be able to print without overhangs. So that's why I do the open-ended on one side, or with the door systems or something, because you have to figure out how to print it smartly. That's good. So now we prepare it and we see what that looks like. Could have been days of resoldering or tracing. Ugh. Yeah, wiring like that is such a pain in the ass. But I love that. I love that you're able to find the issue that way. That brings a smile on my face. So now it dumps out this wonderful little whatever. Actually, I wonder if we can squeak this in a little closer. Yes. Alright, that's beautiful. Okay, so now we got to make sure it's printing properly. So in the slicer, we can actually look at this layer by layer. I know it's a little bright, so you can't see much. We can actually go layer by layer to see what the printer's doing. And on the first layer, I got to make sure it's doing the red text first. So it does the outline, does the text. Yep. And then real quick, we'll just run through, make sure nothing's sticking out. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay. Save that to a file and we'll get this going. So we'll call this TFC case rear. Okay, so now put that bad boy on our SD card, and then the printer can print. And look at that. We can go from code to real life in a couple hours. Sure is nice for fast prototyping. It's amazing how quickly you can just turn stuff into reality with 3D printers. They're so freaking cool. Okay, so on the USB drive, in here I also have folders so that way I can find all my stuff. So we have a TFC folder that we put our TFC file into. Who would have thought? Okay, should be good to go. Alright, so now all the magic is contained within. Put it in here and print it out. goodness. Okay, so there we go. Now that case will be printing out, and we'll see how that turns out in 2 hours and 10 minutes. All right. Anyway, and we're back. Oh, here, let me bring you back down and onto. There we go. Oh no, it's messing up my case phone. Stop it. There we go. Life of a streamer. Okay. Hi dude, how are you doing? The auto gearbox, are you still doing the auto gearbox shifter things? Yes. Yeah, we're still doing the nifty shifters, if you've seen those before. They plug in between the transmission computer, let you do all kinds of stuff. You can manually shift with your factory shifter. You can add joysticks or buttons or switches or anything like that. But yes, they are in stock and ready to go. Well, I still have to build them, but yes, they are. I've been sub for years. You ever gonna get past your teens? Get past my teens? What, like in subscribers or views? Unless you just, okay. Unless you're saying I look young. Freaking 27, man. I feel old as dirt. Starting to learn all the fun about back problems and life just slowly sucking in general. Being an adult ain't all it's cracked up to be, man. Shit takes a lot of time. I never age. Well, I mean, I guess if you didn't see the hair, probably wouldn't see much. But yeah. Yeah, we're making fan controllers right now. Just got the printer set up to print out some cases, so we're gonna see if that case works. Actually, real quick, there's a bunch of packages. Let me go get the packages, and I'll be right back. That's a heck of a lot of boxes, but I don't think any of them are for me. Pretty sure I'm waiting on one from Amazon for some wire. Let's see what's going on with that. It says it's arriving today. I wonder if that's coming UPS. No, USPS. Man, we went. Okay, yeah, that's a little off. It just left Maryland at 9:30 today, so no, I'm not getting that package today. Womp womp. It's alright, I don't need that. It's a 20 gauge wire for the nifty shifters, actually. Really? Wow, it's not even expected till the 12th. Okay, guess I gotta wait until Monday. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, trying to find good 20 gauge wire is kind of difficult. I found some that was like, it was silicone, and it's supposed to be like super flexible, and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Except the strands are super, super thin, so when you try to twist them, they just kind of like, they just go wherever. It's almost like a fiber. It's not even like a wire, like it's not solid or anything. So when you're trying to twist them up and put them into little holes, they don't, like a strand pops out, and they're a pain in the ass to solder. Like, oh my god, they're awful. I mean, it might be good if you're trying to do speaker hookup or something like that, where they're like screw down terminals or stuff like that, but for the work I do, no. No, 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 no. No fucking way. I like the just the standard copper so much better. What a pain in the balls. It's even kind of hard to strip because the silicone's all like stretchy and stuff, and it's like, yeah. No. Just no. Okay, so we have, let's make a count here. Got rear and side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rear and 2 side, right? 2 side, okay. And let's get our colors. We've got red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red. Okay, people really like red. We've got white. We've got 1 white and 2 green. 2 green. Yes. Okay. Old cell phone cord stripped out makes good wire. That's an interesting idea to see if there's any that size. It's more about making sure I have enough of it because each shifter has like 20 wires of each style or 12, I forget. Let's take a look. Yeah, okay, so we've got 11 of the smaller gauge wire and 5 or 7, 6 or 8 millimeters. So that's 83 millimeters of wire, which if we convert that, no, centimeters, not millimeters, derp. Okay, that's more like it. Yeah. Okay, so I've been using the wrong the wrong thing all this time. So yeah, it's like 32 inches. It's like what, a couple of feet, ain't it? 2.6 divided by 12. Yeah, so that's almost like 3 foot of wire for each shifter. But yeah, when you're making a lot of them, it's just easier to have a spool. You know, like yeah, you can cut corners with that for 1 or 2, but when you're trying to sell, 10, 20, 30 of them, you got to get a nice supply somehow. Okay, let's get these TFCs going. Alright, so this is what the boards look like when they come in. So, oh yeah, I forgot they mentioned that. They said 2 of them were missing some component, but it was so cheap and it was going to take them so long. I'm like, no, just send it. I'll put it on myself. But yeah, they come in these little tiny packets. So we need what, 8 of these things? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now are these both messed up? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, good to know. Yeah, these ones are missing the voltage regulator. You kind of need that, so we'll fix them later. That should be easy. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8. All right. So let's take them out, see what they look like. So when you get them out, you got a nice little crisp board ready to go with all the little bits and ends on them. I used to build these by hand. No more. Oh my god, what a pain in the balls it was to make sure that they were all good. Making sure every single pin is good and none of them are jumped and that none of the components like jumped around. Like I hate it. Oh my god, having to place them all by hand and smear the solder paste on, make sure everything's covered. It's such a freaking thing. It took me like a couple hours. I think it was like over an hour. It was like an hour and a half per board for assembly and fixing. So after just making 3 boards, my brain was fried. I didn't feel like working anymore because it's just too much of a mental load. So I'm so thankful that I can get these pre-assembled by someone now. It's absolutely worth. Have a good one, Nick. Have things to get done. Nice seeing you, man. I appreciate you stopping by. This will get uploaded to the channel, so you can always watch it later if you like to. Yes, sir. Here we are, making fan controllers. Yeehaw. Thing's going to town. Come on, little buddy. Come on. There you go. Alright. Oh, they glorious. Wouldn't you like to know? You can't see them. Why don't you come down, take a gander? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so things that we can do. We have to do the switches. We have to do those switches. Yeah. Okay. That actually just came in. I was waiting for those to show up. Those. We got too many boxes, man. Oh, they're up here. Okay. Because we're done adapters now, so we can put the adapter stuff away. Alright. Now we can take out this box. And actually, this box can go away, because you don't belong here anymore, so you can go there. And this stuff actually belongs up here. So this. That's all empty, and that's all empty, and that's all empty. Where are you? Here's your stuff. You can stay. Oh, yeah. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, cool. So we've got our emergency switches over here. So this was one of the safety features I built into the TFC. If there were ever the case that the computer, like if the controller messed up, or you know something just went wrong, there's a switch here that you can flick, and it'll force fan 1 on. It's a completely mechanical connection, so there's no electrical anything required. As long as the trace on the board is okay and the relays are hooked up, it'll force fan 1 on. So at least you can kind of limp through if you really needed to. The reason for only doing fan 1 is because these controllers support dual speed fans, and if your relays aren't set up smartly, so if it's like if a two-speed fan is basically, it's got 2 motors and 1 or 2 windings, however it's set up. But if you power both speeds at the same time, you can really mess the motor up. So that's why I can't make this turn on all 3. Now I guess I could have chosen like fan 1 and fan 3 or you know, fan 1 and 2 or something, but it's too much thinking. You know, there's too many variables, so this is just the easiest way to add a little bit of something. Alright, so we'll pop those little bad boys in there, and we'll get this going. The other switches, the main selector switches, were an interesting challenge to solve for these, because the LED screens that I use are pretty thick. And I couldn't find buttons long enough, so I had to build a custom spacer to push the switches up so that they'll actually reach outside of the board. So you'll see that next. Probably could have had them put this switch on, but again, that's an extra assembly charge, and it's only an extra couple seconds per board, so it's worth it. Worth it to save a little. I got word the the REM assembler, he still has like another batch of like I think 40 to finish or something like that. But I've still got enough in stock right now to be good for a while. So he said that they should be done sometime. He was hoping for them to be done yesterday, but they had like a safety something, I forget. They had to test the system and the power had to be turned off for that. So they kind of got delayed for that. But he was hoping either today or shipped out Monday, so I have a few more on hand. But honestly, with the way that I've been going through them and how long the assembly time takes, I'm probably going to place another order pretty soon, actually. Just because it's taken so long to get them built. And with orders increasing, I got to figure out how to keep up with demand. But, you know, can't complain about good business, you know? It's definitely good. I appreciate business that keeps me, helps me do the things I want to do, and I love the fact that my stuff is helping people out. I absolutely just, oh man. It really brings a smile to my face when I hear that people like my stuff. So that's why I do it, you know? It's not completely to make money. Like, yeah, it's a business, it's got to support me somehow, but at the end of the day, it's really just because I like making cool stuff, and other people like cool stuff, so why not give? Alright, we are cooking through these. Yeah, I definitely noticed that there were a lot more viewers at night. So, apologies that I have to do this in the middle of the day. Especially since I'm on the East Coast. This is still like early bird morning for you guys on the West Coast. But my schedule doesn't work out for my usual night owl routine. I'm kind of waking up at 8 in the morning whether I like it or not now, so guess I gotta get used to making use of my day. So I come over here, work for however many hours I can squeeze in, and I go to the other job and do that, and then collapse and do it all again. Ain't life fun? This stuff's kind of fun though. I don't mind this too much. It's kind of relaxing. It's definitely way better doing these in batches, doing like 8 at a time instead of just doing 1 or 2. It's definitely the way to go. So, sound systems. The MJ currently does not have a head unit or speakers in it, because my buddy took out the speakers. He might have took out the head unit too, because they were kind of good. I don't know if he put them in his red truck or what, but yeah, the MJ is currently just a very barren. So I need to look into some kind of head unit for it. I'm not sure what to go with. Part of me's thinking to just get like, you know, one of the stock standard, you know, single DIN bullshitters you can buy all the time. Because as long as it's got Bluetooth and aux, you're pretty much set. But part of me is kind of interested in one of them Android head units. Because now that I've had time to use the one in my Civic, I love it. It's really nice being able to click through, and there's just so many more things you can do with it. Because you could probably put on Google Maps if you want. You can have your different like radio apps and stuff like that. You can have a backup camera and things like that. So they're overall just way more versatile. So if I can find like a nice single DIN setup that doesn't take up too much space, I might go that way. Like I said, I feel like it'll add to the cyberpunk vibe a little bit, maybe. I don't know. So I'll have to find a decent head unit that I like. And then I gotta look into some speakers. I'm not sure how overkill I want to go with this. But I'm thinking maybe a sub in the rear. Like the behind the seat, the bench seat. Nothing crazy. Just like a real shallow, like an 8 or a 10 or whatever I can fit back there. Just to add a little bit of bass to it. I think that'd be really, really nice. But I guess the thing I'm trying to figure out is how nuts do I want to go? Am I just going to do the regular dual speakers in the front, or am I going to do separate tweeters that mount up near the mirrors, or like? I guess it's kind of a cost versus performance thing, you know. Like I don't plan on spending up $1 million on the thing, but you know, a couple hundred to have like a nice system so you can really listen to music might be worth it. And it'll just add to the fun factor, you know. It'll be more fun to drive when you got nice music to listen to. So I'm gonna look into stuff like that, see what's worth getting and what's not really. I think a nice little sound system with an Android head unit would be cool. Well, yeah, if you guys got suggestions or you've done anything yourself, I'd definitely love to hear it, even if it's just like brand recommendations or anything like that, stuff you'd like to see. I should probably go through the wiring on the Jeep too, because the main battery cables are kind of falling apart. I think the ground is kind of hammered in place just so it stays. Yeah, I think that's gonna be great, man. Nice head unit, nice sound system, got some cool ass gauges, and the hybrid system for some power and cool factor. I'm not really sure what else I want to do with it. I guess the lights make the lights look cool. I'm probably gonna keep the off-road tires. Well, all terrains, we'll say. They're more just street tires, but I don't think it's gonna. Oh, that's what I want to do. I want to look into come on, brain. A sway bar, a stronger sway bar, so that it handles a little better on the street. It's a two-wheel drive. It's not going to be an off-road machine, so I'd like some better off-road or on-road performance, especially during cornering. I feel like the body rolls a bit, but I am a little spoiled for my Civic. That thing stays so low to the ground. It's just like it's glued. You can take turns so easily and quickly in that. Okay, so here is the fun part. Here's my bootleg solution to my button height problem. So usually when you put these buttons in, they snap into the circuit board and mount flat. So what I'm doing here is there is a 3D printed thing, like a spacer, to keep them elevated off the board so that they have the height they need. So it's a little tricky, but yeah, you space them up a little, then tack one of the corners, and then they stay, and you can take the spacer out and finish the job. So this is probably one of the more annoying parts of the assembly, but has to be done to make it work, so gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. Make sure they're straight. You can pull a little thingy out. And then that's what it looks like. They're all like spaced off the board. And you just solder them in the rest of the way. The stuff behind the scenes. This was actually a common problem that I got when I sold REMs as a kit that you could build yourself. So I guess some people were a little confused about how the buttons actually mounted, because they're supposed to snap into the board, so they mount flush with the circuit board. But a couple people, when they built it, they had the buttons sticking up real high like this. It's hard to keep them straight, and I don't even remember if it fit the case or not. It might have, but it was probably really close. But yeah, there's like casement fitment issues. I'm like, yeah, no, that's supposed to be snap fit into the board. So yeah, that's part of the reason that started to die out. Along with going surface mount, it's too much of a hassle to sell assembly kits like that. It was definitely fun for the time, but it actually didn't save me any time. It was faster for me to just build and batch. People keep calling me. What do you want? Go away. Alright. There we go. Then we do it all over again. I'm so excited about that digital dash, man. I really want to start experimenting with that and see what kind of like different things I can do. Because an idea I was thinking of, when you look at the Intellitronics one, it's got the LEDs in a circle, but it's kind of, there's no indicator of what each dash means, so it's a little hard. Like, you look at it and you go, okay, that's a percentage of something, but you don't really have any indicators to know what the scale really is. So I was wondering what it would look like either to have something printed on there that shows the dash, like, you know, if you're looking at RPM, say you got like your 1, 2, 3, 4,000 RPM. But you either have something printed as like a faceplate, or have, like, say, a white LED to indicate every tick mark, so that way you have a better idea. It feels more like a gauge, you know, like it's a more useful gauge. And you can do cool stuff, like for the tachometer, say, after 5K you could have it like flash red, or have the tip flash red, or something like that. So, like little, like, you know, stylized fun things like that, just to add a little flair factor to it. So that was some ideas that I had, along with that center mount information screen. So that way you can see some more things like MPG, or, I don't know, I guess you could do odometer, or like all kinds of crazy stuff, whatever you're thinking. I feel like it'd be a really fun project, and I feel like it'd really take off. A lot of people would probably like to make something cool. The hard part for that is deciding if I 3D print an entire cluster casing, or if I make it some kind of retrofit kit where you have to take apart your old cluster and put the new guts inside. Because that's something I could do. It'd be cool to do factory connectors, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that very easily. But yeah, with the speedometer, if it's all digital, you could add an adjustment button somewhere. So if you put bigger tires on or something like that, you can adjust your speedometer to read accurately. That'd be another nice feature. Which I think the other brand does it, possibly. I don't know. I didn't read too much into their features. It's just anytime you search up a digital dash, they're all over the place, so it's hard not to see them. Wish I had more to talk about, but there's not too much really going on. Just the same old stuff in and out. Work, 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 trying to clean up the house, trying to do something new and exciting, and try not to forget about the Jeeps. I don't know. Depending on the interest, I might cut this one short, or I don't know if it's worth doing a second part or not. I don't know. But I am getting hungry, so at some point I'm gonna have to stop for lunch. I'll see how far I can push, though. Because even if there's not people watching it now, you guys can watch this later. It's definitely not a good time slot for live, but it's better than nothing, I guess. I'd like to edit videos, but there's not too many videos left to edit. And there's not really any new content besides the MJ, so I'm excited to get to that, but even then there's not much. I just haven't had time to mess with the Jeeps anymore. Come on. Gotta make sure your tip stays clean. Oh, what the fuck? I'm so confused. That button's like... What happened there? That button's like all... It's missing like a leg. Lieutenant Dan, you got new legs. Blah, 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 blah. Ask what you guys are up to, but there's not too many guys left to ask. That's 4 of them. Another 4 more. Come on. And this one's all messed up too. What's going on in that bag? go. Alright, well, if you guys don't have anything super exciting, I don't know. I might start cutting this pretty soonish, I don't know. Deciding if I want to go for the screens or get up and just take a break. Too much sitting down is going to drive me nuts. There you go. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna call it after this one. Sorry I can't show you everything, but there's not too much left. It's really just putting the screen on top and then popping it into a case. So I guess I could at least show you what the screen looks like. But I'm getting hungry and I'm getting antsy and it's time for some food. Thank God. Okay. So, real quick, I'll just show you those. So a lot of this stuff I get from Adafruit. Bring it up here a little bit. So this is the green right here. So they come just on little foam packets, and they got little pins on the back so you can access them all. So the special thing with these displays is, if you notice all the different dashes in there, these are alphanumeric. So instead of the normal ones like this that you're more used to, this only displays numbers. But with this one, with all the extra dashes, you can also do letters and all kinds of other stuff. So with this one, I can display text and all that. But that's a lot of freaking pins to have to drive. So the other part of the kit that Adafruit supplies, which is the important part, is the backpack. So come on. This is where all the magic happens on this backboard. So this has got the chip that actually drives it, and there's only a couple pins you have to interface with. So it uses I2C to communicate, and you just pretty much send it whatever numbers you want in the order, and it'll do the hard part of displaying it for you. But yeah, we take that little backpack, put it together, and we put that right in there. We put our jack on, and pretty much done. Oh, Lupac Kid, what's going on? So I'm debating on ending the stream early because no one was showing up, but maybe I'll hang on a little longer if I have some interest. Right now we're making fan controllers, so I'm starting to slowly lose my mind. the fun stuff, you know? But yeah, finally got some product in. I got some new cases designed for these, so I can finally get the pre-orders going. And then the fun part is I can set them to being in stock on the website. So that's always a good feeling, is having more in stock. But yeah, so that's what the display looks like when it's all set. So we can solder that together. But yeah. You know what, I'll hang on a little bit. Let's see if we can push through. We've only got a couple more switches to do, so. Come back, please. Alright. So I'll see if I can at least finish through. Yep, I don't know if you guys are up to anything fun or cool or exciting or whatever. If you got stuff to talk about, now's definitely the time to say it. How long has this thing been going for anyway? It says 2.5, but I feel like that's not correct. Has it really only been 2.5 hours? Slow day. But yeah, I don't know if you can rewind the live before it's posted, but I was talking about the new snap fit covers for the adapters. So these are real slick. They cover all the wires and stuff, so they're less exposed. So yeah, they're looking real nice. So I'm excited to get the adapters together. So that'll be after this, once I'm done putting the controllers together. Then I'm going to go to the back room and coat these all with like a waterproof coating so they can survive the elements a little bit. And we can put them in there and make them look all pretty. Right now I'm putting the buttons on the fan controller. I have a custom built spacer to help me keep the right height and keep them level, because the buttons have to be pushed up a lot to match the screen because the screen's so thick. Two more. We got this. Come on. Hey, we finally got another guy. What's going on, man? Those controllers are awesome. You're doing good things for the Jeep community. Hey, from Finland. I appreciate it, man. What's going on? Yeah, I guess for you guys it's starting to get a little later, huh? Back from work and finally get to enjoy some dinner. But yes, sir. That's what we're doing right now. We got some fan controllers cooking up. Putting them all together. So I just got all the case revisions done. So if you rewind to the beginning, you'll see me talk about these a lot more. But the wiring adapters have covers now, so they'll stay nice and dry and out of the elements. So for all these little doodads, for when you're putting all your wires in there, this cover will fit nice and clean, keep them protected. So yeah, I'm excited to update the pictures and show them off because they're gonna look awesome. I am hungry. It is time for lunch. What am I gonna munch for lunch? Come on, man. It's actually interesting to see. No, 2028 vanilla candies. Oh, preparing for bed. Wow, it's that late? Oh my goodness. I mean, I guess that's not terribly late. That's like 8:30. That's. But yeah, man, it's awesome. Glad to see you. I'm actually kind of surprised how many people come by from Poland and stuff like that. There's Poland. There's Sweden. There's a few Iceland, I think, maybe one or two. But yeah, man, I love to see the international support. That's awesome. That's so cool that people can find my stuff just about anywhere. I love international orders. I actually I go with a third-party shipper now, Easy Ship, to do international orders because they give me a great deal for DHL and really anyone I want to. But DHL does international shipping in 1 to 4 days, whereas the post office, USPS, they can take up to a month to get places, man. And they guarantee, well, they don't actually guarantee. It says 6 to 10 days priority shipping, but then at the bottom, cannot guarantee actual dates. Like, seriously? You're lucky if you get 6 to 10 days going to Canada. Australia, it took 44 days for this package to go to Australia. So now I use DHL through that Easy Ship service, and it got there in 4 days. 4 working days. So that's awesome. And it's about the same price, too. So, hell yeah. I miscounted. I'm missing a button. No. Or did I run out? Oh, I ran out of white, I think. Maybe. No. Still got white. Just miscounted. Doopy-doo. Uno mas. Okay. After that, we're done with the switches. Yee. Alright, so I'm going to need a vote here. I want to see if there's actually enough people watching to be worth it. Do I stop for lunch, or do I push through and at least do the jacks? The jacks is probably another, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just deciding when to stop, but actually we do have a few viewers, so I might stick around. If it's worth it. It's not always worth it when I'm just talking to myself, but if there's some other people on the line, I'll definitely stick around. Waiting's not that bad, but ordering things from US to Finland can be expensive. Just ordering a thumb-size hydraulic valve for my Bobcat and shipping was $80. Yeah, the small stuff sucks for sure. International shipping's not cheap. And I know depending on where it goes too, you guys, there's lots of import fees, you know? Like, it's crazy how much import stuff is taxed. You know, you're sitting there paying freaking $50 shipping, and then once you get the product, you're paying another 30 to 50 import. So, yeah, that stuff is rough. Oh my goodness, finally. Buttons are done. Super what beauty. Okay, cool. So now the switches are done. We got all that figured out. So now we can do the jacks. I'll stick around for a little bit more. So we've got 2 side and 6 rear. So let's. Right. Some kind of part from China comes free shipping is crazy. Oh wow. Yeah, right. Figure that out. Oh no. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to program these to see if they even worked. Oh well. I might have some, sure. Okay, so here are the fancy rear adapters, which is actually a really common option for the fan controllers. So someone asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, okay. I kind of just offered it like not as a joke, but sort of just like, yeah, I guess if something really wants it. But yeah, they really took off. I was surprised with how many people order these, so that's like basically the norm at this point. Gonna go to bed now. Keep up the good work. Alright, man. Appreciate you sticking around. I love the international folks. I want to hear where you guys are from. But alright, man. Take it easy. If you want, you can always watch the video later when it's posted. Keep you company or something. But take it easy. Okay, what did I say? Oh, no. No. Go back. Go back. Go back. Yeah, there you go. There you go, buddy. Come on. Almost fucked that one up. Okay. 6 right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bloop. Okay. Somewhere around here I have rubber bands, but I decided to clean up, and now I don't know where my rubber bands are. Because if I put this in this bag, you know damn well that this thing's going to open up and I'm going to have stuff everywhere. But, is that a bad idea? We'll let fate decide. If they fall out, they fall out. Okay, and I gotta get 2 right angles. I'll be right with it. Always gotta keep stuff in stock. Oh. 2 of those. Okay, so now we'll pop all these bad boys into place. Beautiful. So I'm just now realizing that I already made the red one. The first one that was needed to be sold. Huh. Well, that was a 90 degree. That's a pretty common one. Do I leave the board blank? That's the only problem with made to order, is that it's hard to pre-make them because they're made to order. But then the rear mount is a pretty common option, so screw it. Let's go for broke. Alright, but after I'm done these, I'll probably head off. So, if you guys got any final questions or anything you'd like to say, now is your chance. I guess 3 hours ain't too bad. Wrap it up with an even 3. If that's true. That counter always seems to change. It's like anytime there's an interruption, it like resets or like forgets where it's at. Alright. Well, last call for alcohol. So what you need? Okay, boom. Jacks are done. Yep, I think now's a pretty good time for lunch. So, yep. It's been a pleasure, folks, but it's time for me to feed myself because I am hungry. But if you want, I can take you around a little bit. It's time to go portable. Time to go unplugged and personal. There we go. You can check out the shop a little bit better. So this is what I stare at freaking all the time. My lovely workshop. Let me see, printer's up too. Printing away, making my cute little cases. Yeah. Looking good. We can come over here to this side and we can see this cute little printer making adapters for the RAM. Sorry, it's a little dirty. But you can see the custom ventilation system that I got going on over the window. So it's just a little fan duct, computer fan. Because that keeps the smell down, because the smell is obnoxious. So we got this guy that wraps all the way around. It's actually taped on the inside real tight. This is magnetic. This is all taped. This is Rock Auto magnets to make this a magnetic seal. So that's cool. Hey, we finally got some on. What's going on with the blown Dana 30? Well, it's blown. And we've got parts somewhere in one of these cabinets is an aux locker and gears and bearings and stuff. But I need free time to actually put it together. And all my free time is getting eaten with this stuff. So yeah, that'll come eventually. The weather's getting nice. The weather is getting nice, so that's going to be a very very good chance I'll start working on the Jeep soon. So yeah. The MJ is just about good. I got some parking brake cables over here I want to put in, some door switches, little stuff like that. Because that's been the new thing I've been driving around, so you might see more of the MJ. We could go see the MJ. How about we do that? We'll end it with something kind of cool. Let's go take a walk, shall we? Go behind the scenes. This will be your first live look into stuff. I don't know if the Eaton e-locker was toast or not. I just know that the pinion blew up, and I'm tired of the e-lockers. They take too long to unlock. But here's the Grey Goose. Here's the MJ. You know, those beautiful little babies. Yeah, man. MJ drives now. It's got tags. And a clean bed. There's no more junk. Taking it all to the junkyard. Put this bad boy to work. I wish I could flip the camera around to show you. Oh, but we in here, boys. And of course, Renix would be complete without an REM. Ew, what the fuck is this? fuck is that? Was something in here? What the fuck was that? There was like a dirty like acorn or something in my steering wheel. What the fuck? There were mice in here. At one point when I was first cleaning out. What the fuck? What is that? Okay. On today's Unsolved Mysteries. Oh, but yeah. Nice buzzer, because it would be complete without a buzzer. It's a little low on gas, but it works. A little low though. But yeah, you'll definitely be seeing videos of this thing soon enough. Yeah, but hard not to love a nice MJ. Alright, well, I guess that's all for now. The Jeeps definitely still exist. They're still around, but they need some love. And a garage. Could you imagine a nice garage being there? I certainly can. Well, alrighty, fellas. It's been. Take it easy, y'all. Bye-bye.